Hi guys, it's Catherine, and this is a My Kinda Recaps video. Now normally I only post these videos on the weekend, but KindaTV debuted a 5-episode mini web series, that's what I'm going to call it, called Sudden Master. Now, the series is focused on a character named Alex, whose father has recently passed away and owned a martial arts studio. She specifically uses Kung Fu later, but he has a studio, and he's given the studio to her, and things get a little bit crazy. Alright, so before I get into too much series detail, I am going to recap the entire 5-episode series, just real quick for you. But the first 4 episodes in this series are told through different time periods. So the story doesn't go completely chronologically. The first 4 have moments from a month before, 2 weeks before, the present, and then back and forth, so you can see sort of things that were happening over the course of a month. And then the final episode ties up all of the present events and shows us what happens after a big challenge occurs. So in the first episode, which is, I knew I was going to forget the names of these. Each episode is named after a certain principle of Kung Fu. So the episodes, just all 5 of them in a row, because I know that if I try and do like each episode title at a time, I'm totally going to forget. So they are strength, economy, sensitivity, distance, and intent. So each episode not only has its own plot, but it relates to this key term. So everything that goes on in them relates back to that term. In the first episode, Alex finds out that she gets the studio, but she's really dealing with the fact that her dad died. She wasn't there. She really thinks that Eric, who was her father's like star pupil, should have it. Okay, instead of doing like episode by episode, I'm just gonna do a big full like series thing because I think it'll be easier since the timelines jump back and forth a little bit. Just for me personally to explain it to you. So if you haven't seen it yet, you should go watch it because it's really cool, the music's really cool, the costuming's cool, the fight sequences are amazing. But if you want to know what's going on first, here's the recap a bit. So the entire thing about the studio and Alex wanting to give Eric the studio, he doesn't want the studio, he actually wants her to run it because that's what her father wanted, and he really wants to uphold the wishes of her dad, whose name is Sifu. The issue though is that Alex is dealing with a lot of stuff. It turns out she was in Europe when her father passed away and she didn't know that he was sick, so she was just gone and blames herself for not being there. Beyond that, she's also dealing with some relationship issues with her boyfriend slash fiance, Jude. So at the funeral we meet Jude, who at the time is Alex's boyfriend. Later on, while she's spending more time with Eric to do training he just wants her to train in general since the studio is going to be hers. She's spending a lot of time with him. Jude decides to propose with one of I'm pretty sure Alex's favorite food, marshmallows, which is very cute, even though I think marshmallows are disgusting. Sorry, they're squishy and gross, and I don't like them. But it was cute to watch people eat, like, she eats them in a very humorous way, and the cast and crew did a Fluffy Bunny challenge and some behind the scenes videos, and that was really funny, but I just can't, I can't do it. They're so gross. So gross! Anyway, so he proposes, she winds up saying yes, but then that sort of leads to a lot of issues because she's still dealing with the fact that her father has died, that she has this studio, and she's dealing with the fact that she outright challenged the owner of a now rival studio called MMA Daggers, run by Vienna. And Vienna used to be a student of her father's, but she blames the school for something that happened to her, and she's kind of seeking revenge. She's been putting other martial arts schools out of business, so this isn't the first time, but this one is more personal for her. So Alex challenges her on some form of social media, they don't say which one, and it's decided that she is going to fight in this intense challenge where there'll be 4 rounds, and in the first 3 rounds, she'll fight students of well, they say 4 rounds, and then there's a round in the first episode, a round in the second. Yeah, there are 4 rounds initially, where it's 3 against Vienna students and then a 4th against Vienna herself. But it gets a little bit more complicated than that. So Alex does awesome using the training that she gets from Eric and the tenets that she's been practicing throughout. She kicks major butt in all of the challenges. Then she gets to Vienna and things get kind of crazy. So in the 3rd challenge, she actually gets her shoulder dislocated, and Vienna winds up putting it back in because she wants to continue the fight, which is nice of her, sort of. She wants to be the one who takes out Alex, so it's sort of like a I'll fix you up so we can keep going sort of thing. The 2 of them keep fighting, but it gets really intense. Eric has warned Alex that fighting with anger is not good, that it doesn't help you like stay centered, help you like control yourself. And we see that when she and Vienna are fighting. Both of them are very angry, and a lot of the fighting that happens between the 2 of them is very like abrupt and more, I want to say forceful. All the fighting is forceful because it's fighting, but it's more, I wish I had a good word for this, but I can't think of one. It's very sharp, and every movement is very almost strained, like they're overexerting themselves but trying to like keep centered. So it's like they're punching harder than they want to be, but they're trying to keep themselves from getting hurt. I know that's a terrible way to describe it, but they just look angry while they're fighting each other. Well, Alex looks kind of angry throughout. She's a little more fluid in the other 3 rounds, and in this 4th round with Vienna, she's very like tense. And so is Vienna. Vienna is super tense the whole time. So not only is Alex sort of changing and dealing with changes in her life, but she also is trying to help Eric become a better teacher. She thinks that he's too curt and really just harsh with the students at the school, and she wants him to be more loose and more nice and friendly. So the sensitivity episode is actually Alex training Eric in how to be sensitive, and they like high five and goof around with a big dragon mask thing. They're the huge dragons that they use at like Chinese New Year festivals. I know you know what they are. They're huge and kind of look like lions to me, but I think they're supposed to be dragons. Maybe. I'm sorry if that sounds really dumb. I always assumed they were dragons, but I've never actually like looked it up to verify that they're dragons. Sorry. But the episodes were really cool. The story is really interesting to watch because it's not, I'm used to chronological web series where it's like every episode you're just going forward in time, but having background information revealed through a flashback was really cool because it sort of developed the story in a shorter period of time. So while doing this chronologically would have probably taken like 20 episodes, they condensed it down to 5 with all of the information that you would need to know shown to you in connection to other events in the present timeline. The 5th episode is a lot of fighting because Jude and Eric find out that Alex is at the challenge. They didn't know, but it's being live streamed. So they rush to the challenge site, and she is losing. She's won all the other rounds, but against Vienna, she's losing. And Jude declares double or nothing. They don't want to listen to Jude because he's not the one fighting. Then Eric says that they'll all fight against Vienna and her like students. And if Vienna's team wins, then Eric will join the Daggers and become a teacher at her school, which he doesn't want to do, but he's been dealing with his own issues with not fulfilling his duties, he thinks, to Sifu and helping Alex as much as he thinks he should. There's also a kiss, which is very awkward, and you'll see why the reaction to it is not what I was expecting when it happened. So there's a huge fight with Alex and Eric versus Vienna, all of her students. Things get intense. We learn sort of what happened to Vienna. They don't outright say it, but something did happen to her at a bar, and there were very skeevy men. So I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Just, it's not directly stated, so I'm not going to like directly go into it officially because I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty sure a terrible thing happens and you're probably guessing at that terrible thing too. So there's the big fight scene, and then at the end we get a cool resolution for the studio with Alex having grown, Eric having grown, and then Alex and Jude are still working on their relationship with each other. It's more complicated than them just being engaged. Her being with Eric all the time leads to a rift. She doesn't wear her engagement ring. That causes problems. So there are just issues that crop up, but at the end they're working through them. Jude is also working on his own relationship with his family because there were issues when he started dating Alex. So I really enjoyed watching this series. It's a super fast watch. Like, each episode is 6 minutes and there's 5, so it takes a half hour and you watch the entire series. It was really, really good, and the music's really good. The fighting sequences are amazing. They're so good. Even just the training montage stuff is really, really good. The costuming in the big fighting event is really fun. Alex has a cool mohawk. She has like purple tones in her hair, and they're really emphasized when it's in the mohawk. So, as a cool fun fact, the actor playing Jude is Richard Young, who's also co-creator of the show, and if you watch the show Mislabeled, he plays Percy, and I was really excited because I didn't know he was doing other stuff. So I was like, hey, it's Percy! Not as Percy, but you know. So that was really cool. I was really excited about that. The show was really good. You should definitely check it out. The behind the scenes content is really interesting. They talk about stuff that went into the fight sequences, and you can watch them do the Fluffy Bunny challenge. If you... I do more My Kinda Recap videos. Sorry, that sentence did not go anywhere. I do a weekly My Kinda Recaps. Normally I just do one, but because this was an entire series, I wanted to devote a whole episode to it. I will be back later this week with another recap devoted to the 3 All for One episodes that aired and will be airing on KindaTV this week. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of me, you can subscribe to my channel. That would be great. You can find me on Twitter at CleffNotes, on my blog, cleffnotes.wordpress.com. I write for the Nerdy Girl Express, thenerdygirlexpress.com. I run their Snapchat, the Nerdy Girl EXP, and I post recipes on the iZombie support group site, iZombiesupportgroup.com. Bye, guys.